So, I wanted to talk about the best and worst spells as a solo wizard. What spells you should and should not be using. S tier, which is spells you should probably use every game. Like, they're just so good, you have to use them every game. We got A tier, you should probably use these spells most games. There'll probably be a couple times where you might switch off, but most of the time you're going to be using these spells. B is kind of niche spells. And then C is just bottom of the barrel. You shouldn't be using in solos. It's bad. It's basically just wizard in a nutshell. Just garbage. Let's start off with the very first spell, which is going to be Zap. Now, Zap used to be the king of all spells, man. Back in the day, you would just throw out 2 to 3 zaps and would just get instantly deleted. But that was in the days of like plus 20 weapon damage, plus 20 true damage, 80 magic power. Now, if you're not running true damage, Zap is a lot worse now because they decided, hey, Naked Wizard is the most overpowered class in the game. We gotta nerf all magic power. Zap is now a lot worse because you're barely getting 20% magic power. And unless you have, what is it, like 7 to 8 true damage, you're gonna be doing a lot less damage than you did before magic power got nerfed. So the one good thing about Zap is that it's hit scan. So, you know, wherever you're aiming, it's gonna go. And it's very fast. So Zap is very good against, you know, rangers. It's gonna be good against characters with shields like fighter, bard. So it's good in that. And it's also very fast to get from meditation, clarity potions, just sitting down regularly. I would say Zap used to be S tier, but now it's A tier. Me personally, there's another spell I use more than Zap that I consistently hit more than Zap, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. The next is Light Orb. Now, you might think Light Orb's great because you throw out a Light Orb and then it works against rogues and invis, right? Which Wizard is very weak to landmine, of course. Now getting landmine is great. If you were to use this in 5 spell, you're trolling. Like, a spell that doesn't literally do anything except show invis rogues, that hurts Wizard a lot just because Wizard doesn't have that many damage resources. And 10 spell, you could get away with it. It's okay, but the problem is that if you Light Orb a rogue, they have a second invis. So they just go walk somewhere else, invis, and you still gotta watch out for the landmine. And if not, the rogue comes out of invis, runs to a door, closes it in your face, and then they reset their 2 invises. So there's literally helps prevent you from getting landmined. Not always. So it doesn't even always protect you from landmine. But when it does, you're not killing the rogue either way because they're getting into a door and closing it. So I think I'll put it in B. I'll put it in B for 10. Yeah, for 10. For 5 spells, you're trolling if you put in 5 spells. The next is Magic Lock, which out of everything in Dark and Darker's existence, instant transformation, landmine, buff ball, any broken thing in Dark and Darker's history, think about it. Now think of Magic Lock. Magic Lock actually got nerfed. SDF said, oh my god, Magic Lock, this is the most broken thing in the game. No, it can't happen. And it actually got a nerf in its life. Now, I get why it got nerfed because it was used to be toxic in Arena, but we'll use the argument of the game wasn't designed for solos, so it shouldn't be balanced for solos. Well, the game wasn't balanced around Arena, so why are we balancing it for Arena? But that's for a separate video, okay? Anyways, Magic Lock, probably decent in 10 spell, just because you can lock the door and then go meditate real quickly. But since clarity potions are in the game, like, it doesn't even take that long to get your spells back. But not everyone's gonna have access to clarity potions. So maybe like if you're on budget, you're running 10 spell, but 10 spell's not that good in solos. Kind of like Light Orb, like it helps you in certain situations, but it's just not good. I think I'll go B. It's very niche. XL tier. Yeah, just kidding. It's an S tier, best spell in the game. So good it had to get nerfed. Now this one pains me because slow back in the day used to be what? Was it 5 charges or was it 4 charges? I don't remember. Anyways, now it's 3 charges. It was 40% for 2.5 seconds and then and they nerfed the seconds down from 2.5 to 2. This saddened me so much because I used to run this in 5 spell, and it was so good. When a barbarian ran at you or a fighter with sprint, this would like help kind of counter that, because you would just wait out their movement speed ability, and then it would be easier kiting them. But Iron Mace fashion, this is considered overpowered, so this had to get nerfed. I don't know if this was because of Arena this got nerfed, or it got nerfed before Arena. I don't actually remember the time frame of this getting nerfed. This used to be good. Instacast slow was so strong. Now it's still good. I use it from time to time for solos, like fitting it into the 5 spell. Now, if you're not using spell overload with 3 charges, that's not a lot. And also with a shield, like most classes have shields now because Iron Mace gives everyone a shield. If you miss their legs and you hit the shield, it doesn't slow them, so they can block the slow. And then now you just wasted like 2-3 seconds depending on your cast speed doing absolutely nothing. And now you gotta invis and try to avoid getting 2-shot. So it's a very risky spell. There are other things that I think that are way better than slow, like Achilles Strike, because if you miss the slow, sometimes you just die for it. I don't think the reward is enough for the risk it is now. And I wish slow got buffed, because it was like one of my favorite spells. No, it's not horrible. Like if you hit somebody with it, you can usually get a magic missile or a ice bolt or like a spell off, and it's really good. I still think it's got some uses. I'll put it in B. Ignite is a niche spell. It's great in 5 spell with melee, whether it's Crystal Sword, Bonk, Rondell. But it's also just, you know, you might as well throw it on in 10 spell, and then now if you hit a couple spells on somebody, you could just ignite your sword, pull it out. You don't run the risk of getting cutthroated. It's got more uses than being niche, so I think I put this on like low A, high B. I think now that Bonk Wizard is now probably one of the best, if not the best, you're probably gonna use Ignite a lot because it helps the weakness. It helps cover the weakness of Wizard, which is when somebody gets on top of you, you're just dead. Now, Ice Bolt, on the other hand, most of the time I'm subbing out Zap for Ice Bolt. Honestly, I hit Ice Bolt a lot more than Zap. It's got a bigger hitbox. It slows. You could use Ice Mastery to root. Ice Bolt's goated. It's just good. Let's look at all the things that are powerful in solos. Barbarian, Rogue, Druid. Ice Bolt's great for all of those. It's a little weaker against other range characters like Ranger, Warlock. Because it's a little harder to hit these at range. You're gonna be using Fireball and Explosion instead, so you're not gonna be using Ice Bolt in those situations. Ice Bolt has to go to S. It's just too good. The only problem with Ice Bolt is that when you hit somebody with a spell, and they immediately go into Dead by Daylight Simulator and they're running around modules, closing doors like they're pallets. When somebody's rounding a corner, with how big the hitbox is of Ice Bolt, sometimes you'll clip an edge, or if you're trying to, you know, fight somebody behind cover, Zap is a lot easier to hit somebody behind cover than Ice Bolt. So that kinda sucks, because Wizard is pretty weak against pillars and camping doors and stuff like that. But at that point, you're using Explosion at that point, because it's hit scan as well. So Explosion takes care of that. I also forgot to mention that too. Ice Bolt scales better with magic power, because magic power scales with the base number of the spell. So, and Zap is only what, 20 damage? You're getting less damage from Zap than Ice Bolt. So that's also Ice Bolt better. Probably one of the most controversial spells ever in Dark and Darker. Magic Missile walked so Shotgun couldn't run. Honestly, this might be biased, but Shotgun is like way better than Magic Missiles. So I'm surprised that Magic Missiles has been nerfed like dozens of times. And Shotgun, it got buffed, right? It used to be 50, 75, 100, 75, 50. Now it's 100 across, 100 scaling across all arrows. But Magic Missile is like the only way you're killing somebody at close range. That's like your only defensive spell. Well, besides Invis, but there are a ton of things that counter magic missiles. That's the only problem with magic missiles is that if you know how to counter magic missiles, it is very easy to counter magic missiles. Let's see, what counters magic missile? Shields, silence, good movement, displacement abilities like wind blast, eruption, anything that moves you. Bows, yeah, true, bows. Yeah, bows counter. And everyone can use bows. I mean, there's plenty of other things like healing and stuff like that. But it's also good for PvE clears, so I guess we also have to think about that too. Like to clear is just so good. I guess for a PvE standpoint, we have to put it in here because it's just your only way of clearing. We need to be the top of A. Haste isn't as bad as what everyone says, but if you got a bunch of good gear, you don't need haste, so it's kind of just worthless. For solos, I mean, it's not bad. I would say it's very niche. Like the spellcasting speed helps, the movement speed of course helps. The good thing about haste, once you haste, you permanently have that movement speed bonus for the full duration, which is what, 8 seconds now or 6 seconds? I don't know, they nerfed it. I don't remember. It's like 8 seconds. You get it for that full duration, but for invis, you only get the movement speed increase during the time you're invis. So if you're invis for 1 second and somebody hits you or a mob hits you, you lose that movement speed. You have to be in invis to get that movement speed bonus. So that is the one good thing about haste. But other than that, like I use haste in like low gear, I would say. I think low gear haste is a good pick, or spell overload. Like I really like spell overload, and then you use fireball, zap, magic missile. I actually think that's pretty good. And you just play super aggressive with haste invis. I actually really like that, but those are very niche kind of things. I wish haste got buffed. Poor haste. Now lightning strike. Lightning strike and ice bolt do the same exact thing. They both deal 30 damage. They have 1.0 scaling. And they both slow the same amount. I think it's 20% for, what is it, like 1 second or something like that? I don't remember. So they're basically the same in terms of damage and scaling and slow. But Lightning Strike is a lot worse in solos due to the fact where Ice Bolt has unlimited range. Lightning Strike is a limited range. Saw your arena video. Now I know that I hate druids. I think everybody who plays this game and doesn't play this game hates druids. Isn't that crazy? Slow, we were just talking about it. Slow and magic lock got nerfed, but druid never gets nerfed. Druid's nerf actually turned out to be a buff. So C tier, why isn't everything in there since wizard sucks? Oh my god, you're spitting. Oh, you guys literally just reminded me because I want to talk about this. Magic lock should close doors and also lock it. I would actually use magic lock in solos. You could aim at an open door that somebody was running at and it closed it and it locked it. That would prevent the Dead by Daylight meta that we have in solos, and that would be so good. Anyways, as I was saying, with Lightning Strike just takes too much skill in a mode where you gotta use the most lowest skilled things possible. So with Lightning Strike, you have to predict where the enemy's going. You can't just throw it at the enemy and it'll hit them. You gotta like predict because the radius is a lot smaller. You might as well do that with Ice Bolt just because it has more range, limb modifier. So if you hit the headshot, you're doing more damage. And also, it's easier to hit at close range. Ice Bolt's easier to hit at close range than it is Lightning Strike. And I think they fixed it. You can jump over Lightning Strike. They did say they fixed it, or I think I saw people say they fixed it, but I don't know. I haven't tested it out myself. It does like a reasonable amount of damage, but like if somebody were to pull out a crossbow and shoot you, it's just doing more damage than Lightning Strike. And it takes a lot less skill to aim a crossbow than it is Lightning Strike. So the reward for Lightning Strike does not equal the risk of or the skill of Lightning Strike. Because just bows do significantly more damage, but it's easier to hit. A panther flies at you across the map, it two-shots you, right? So Lightning Strike, it needs to be better. I mean, it's a great trio spell, but for solos, so it goes in B. It's very niche. Invis is just goated. I mean, you're using Invis every game. It's just so good. It's your last line of defense. You could use the after image to your advantage to like juke out the enemy. But if the enemy does have a headset or they have more than 100 hours, you're listening to the footsteps anyways. So it's easily counterable. In solos, Invis is so good defensively and offensively. I mean, I don't need to explain it. It's Invis. We all know Fireball is the GOAT. Look, if you don't know why Fireball is S tier and is the most... Fireball's the reason why Wizard is even good in solos. Well, Explosion... Well, we'll get to Explosion, but Fireball is one of the reasons why Wizard is even viable in solos. And here, because some people don't know. Some people don't know this, but if we go over to the Dark and Darker real quick, let's do a little transition here. So how Fireball works. So it says direct damage does 25 damage. S tier, you don't need to explain. So direct damage does 25 damage and it has a 1.0 scaling. All right. The splash damage does 10 damage with 1.0 scaling as well. So why Fireball does so much damage is that if you hit a direct Fireball, not only is it doing the 25 damage plus the 1.0 scaling from your gear, but it also does the splash damage as well, which does another 10 damage plus that 1.0 scaling. And on top of that, it's also doing the burn damage for 3 seconds, which is doing the 3 damage with 0.5 scaling, which is not much, but it's at least something. So that's why Fireball does so much damage. You can also displace people. Like, if you shoot a Fireball at a door while somebody's running at it, sometimes you'll push back the guy away from the door, which gives you enough time to hit another spell, and then you'll just kill him before they can close the door in your face. So the knockback on Fireball is insanely strong, and it's just too goated. Splash damage is great. If you miss, you hit the splash damage, it still does a good amount of damage. It applies anti-heal from Fire Mastery. It's such a cool spell. It's such a fun spell, and I wish Sorcerer had a fireball, just a spell that was like a fireball, man. It's just goated. Explosion. Now, Explosion. I mean, as I spoiled it earlier, this is also a reason why Solo Wizard is even great. It sucks that there's only 4 charges, but Explosion is so good because it's hit scan. It does a delayed damage, which I'll get into why that's so good, but it's delayed. Not only that, Wizard is weak against pillars, door camping, sitting behind cover, all of that. So you can just pop an explosion around a corner or a pillar, anything, and it makes the player go out from cover, and then you can hit a spell. It's also good for that. It also helps you be able to push through doors because Wizard's weak against door camping. It's just so it applies Fire Mastery, which is also goated. That's one thing. So the timer can screw you over in solos. You hit a barbarian and then they run on top of you and then it hits you and it kind of screws you over. But against like Ranger, Warlock, sometimes barbarians with Potion Chugger, it's so good because if you hit somebody with Fire Mastery, it's that delayed effect. After 3 seconds, it explodes and it procs the Fire Mastery so they don't have anti-healing for that 3 to 5 seconds. And by that time, you have a fireball proc, or you already have a fireball ready to cast or another explosion. So you could just keep stacking Fire Masteries on top of each other, which increases the duration of the Fire Mastery. So that's why the delay is so good. If SDF decided to let that one person in Iron Mace headquarters that loves solos, that wants to balance the game around solos, even if it's, I don't even care if it's the Iron Mace janitor, for God's sake, just get the janitor, hook him up with a 4090 in the closet, and just let the janitor balance just solos. Because I would love for Explosion to have 6 or 7 charges and reduce the damage a little bit, but have 6 or 7 charges so that wizards could like counter door camping and pillar camping a lot more, because it kind of sucks when you only have 4 charges. And spell overload just, it has too much of a negative impact on your casting speed. So you need gear to make it work. Just give it more charges, but lower the damage. I would just wish that would happen, man. I really wish that would happen. Oh, and you could also, every wizard starts off with explosion because it's just so good, which you can actually use that against the wizards. Like if you know, like if you see them casting fire, it's mostly explosion. So you could actually like play around it. Like you could be like, oh, he's casting explosion. Let me go invis and then fireball him and stuff like that. But that's for another video too. Now, chain lightning used to be goated in solos because you could chain it off of dead mobs. But then they changed that, which was a good thing because that playstyle was very cringe, just sitting on a dead body for like 5 minutes waiting to chain off of it. But even more broken things and toxic things came out, which makes chaining off of dead bodies seem so balanced. And chain lightning is only 2 charges. So for that, chain lightning's garbage in solos. Just don't even use it. This wipe, everyone, I imagine, will be 330 move speed with the new move speed changes. So by the time you cast chain lightning, they're already on top of you. And then you chain lightning yourself and then you die. It's garbage. Again, back to the janitor scenario. Man, if it just, the game was balanced differently for solos, bring back chaining off of dead bodies. Honestly, like, why not? There's so many broken things in solos. It would be totally, it would even be, that's not the only problem in Dark and Darker, man. There's just hundreds. That wraps up the tier list. All we got a summary. Nerf Wizard, buff Druid. There you go.